In the end, I'm just going to mention quickly some of the things don't do. Pass that around. You take any of these spars that are laminated and you try to make like an end bow out of your wing. Well, I thought that was really neat because this is really solid stuff. I cut it to the right shape, I put it in a form, steamed it for 3 or 4 hours, it's just like a wet noodle. I let it dry in the dehumidified room for 1 week. I took it out of that form and I'll tell you, it's straight down, straight as an arrow. Don't use pre-laminated stuff if you want to try to bend it. Unless the alternative was you want to do that snazzy saw I have in 1/8 inch. They may or may not notice which airplane I have out here. It's that little blue one with the silver wings, which we'll talk about and a B engine. It's a super B, and I'll explain what makes it super B. That spar, which I got listed as a brilliant idea, some guy says, I got a piece of 2.5 by 6 by 14 foot long, vertical grain, most beautiful piece of spruce I've had for 30 years in the garage. He says, we don't like it. That's me, something for nothing. So I took a smooth cut off one side, put it in that same saw, which only sticks up 3 1/4 inches on an old gas-powered cable saw head. I ran it through, I end-threaded it, moved it over, ran it through again, and I never had to sand it. It was such a perfect cut. So don't forget, it's the saw blades and some of these cap strips. Perfect. Keep that in mind. Okay. Secondly, my engine has got a Super B engine on it. It has, I have mostly worked on by a race car driver in California, which I've had a couple of them made that way. And actually, it has a lot of funk. If any of you guys know what funks are, many years ago, 10 years ago as a matter of fact, I brought a funk in here that was inverted with the radiator alongside. And it was strictly funk, certified, with the certified scimitar prop on it. And this, I was so impressed with that particular performance. This blue peach you see out here is a funk engine upside down. The spark plugs up. It has a 7-to-1 compression ratio, a slant funk combustion chamber in the head. I'll try to remember everything that's in there. High lift cam, aluminum connecting rods. The crankshaft is a forged counterweighted crank that folks used in most of their engines, and also I believe that was used in Canadian trucks. Excellent crank. If anybody can find one of those, it is a perfect. It's not much lighter, and you can spin it at unbelievable speeds. Now also I've got, and then beside the crankshaft is fully drilled. I use a Ford V8 oil pump. Runs 60 to 70 psi oil pressure. I have also, let me see, Ford pistons, slight dome to them. And the, what is it? You adjust the oil pressure anywhere you want along the line, and it's got many, many things that it's not all up here because my brain's not all there all the time. That propeller you see on there, that ground adjustable Hamilton, is off the airplane engine that I had last year, which is the Lambert engine. I don't know how many of you guys saw that Lambert engine that was on that Pete. You go out there and see that red Pete that's got a Lambert engine on? That was my engine last year. I let Frank fly that plane once and he says, that's it, I gotta have that engine, and that's the beautiful job he did on it. It's a 90 horsepower, and that also swung that Hamilton ground adjustable prop. When I transferred it to my engine, believe it or not, that 90 horsepower is at 2250 RPM. I swing it at 2300. That's how much horsepower I'm getting out of my little Super B. And I think one of the prime reasons is because it does not have a carburetor on it. I use fuel injection. And I use fuel injection. The first experimented with on a Model A back in 1990, and I was the test platform for the company Airpro Performance, which they use this injection system on most aerobatic airplanes that you see up at Oshkosh. Same system. It's basically designed for the 0360 light foaming. And I haven't changed anything except all the little specialty stuff that they do in the laboratory to get it to work right. And of course I ran it on the Model A with Babbitt's in for 2 years. And I tore the engine down to see what it, and I'm running at 2,500 RPM. A Babbitt's Model A engine with a high compression head with fuel injection. The interesting thing is, when I tore it apart, there wasn't a darn thing wrong with that engine. I put it right back together. Ended up selling it for $1,200 for a good platform for testing. It's quite interesting because I don't think it's what you want to try. Does it perform when you get it done trying? So you got to keep working. Idiot things like I do like that. That also is the same airplane 3 or 4 years ago that I put an order 145 on. The same engine mounts that Pietenpols puts his Model A engine on. I didn't change the wing position at all. My experience is if you get the airplane off the ground, the CG is right. Most of the guys that are on the list on the internet are worried about temperature and insure whether it's engine or CG. The Werner engine weighed 300 pounds. The prop and hub, which is an 82-inch diameter prop, and the hub weighed close to 50 pounds, 48 pounds. And now you've got 3 gallons of oil in a tank that's also oil. And as many of you have seen that fly many years ago, I could take off here and get 3,000 feet by the time we're in the runway with 2 people. So, and that's with the Pietenpols Airport. Now, that was an interesting experiment to experiment strictly because how much weight could you put on the front end and still fly? Everybody says, well, where did you move the wing? I never moved it a fraction of an inch. I left everything on that airplane to see it before it fly. And that's another point. You got any questions about big engines or different engines? Just, yes, I'll give you my opinion. But that's an order. Now, also, I have tried, I've flown Brodheads, I've flown most of the engines that are out here. They're all excellent engines as long as they keep running. That's important. Also, I don't know if I mentioned that, but everything is inserted. I do not use Babbitt at all. Main rods. And I redirect some of the oil grooves around so it gets the oil in the right spot. It also has a thrust bearing, ball bearing thrust bearing on the very nose that sticks it out a little bit further. Adds weight to it, of course. But you can run that thing all day long, full throttle if you want. Okay, now the next thing is the wing. Now you're going to have a lot of questions